citizen, kingdom citizen, yeah, yeah, kingdom citizen of Wisconsin. Kingdom citizen, yeah, yeah, kingdom citizen. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for tuning in tonight. I'm having one difficulty, and I'm going to try to fix that real quick. Give me 1 second, because today was the day that we're supposed to be able to go live on Rumble. And so trying to see what's going on with that situation. But we were supposed to be able to go live on Rumble. So this will be our first live show. It normally used to stream from YouTube to Rumble, but now we're getting it together. We're supposed to go live on Rumble. So it's not happening on Rumble. So I'm going to have to take Rumble off for tonight, and we would put it back on later after we figure out what's going on. So we're going to put Kingdom Citizens of Wisconsin page on here, and now we can get this party started. So how y'all doing tonight? This is Monday night. Good evening, Kelly. It's good to see you on here. How did you mothers enjoy your Mother's Day? Happy belated Mother's Day to each and every one of you guys. I hope you had a great Mother's Day. We worked hard for Mother's Day. We was at the ballpark watching the Milwaukee Brewers win a game for Mother's Day. So okay, so I'm trying to figure out why. Oh, I know why. Let me see what's going on here. Give me 1 second. So much going on technically that
Bluetooth disconnected.
There you go. That I can go forward now. So let's get this party started. It's called, tonight we're talking about Let's Just Talk. It's so much going on. And I just want to start off by saying, when are we going to stop fighting? And what I mean by that is we see so much going on, and we're fighting on different issues where it really don't even make sense anymore of the fighting that we are having right now. And so when we look at the fights that's going on, you got people fighting, and you got right versus left fighting, right versus right fighting, left versus left fighting. Everybody is fighting each other, and I'm trying to figure out why so much fighting, or what are we really trying to do? What are we really saying or trying to say when it comes to the battle that we are in? And so when why? Oh, I know why. Trying to say, okay, what's going on? Okay, so when we look at this, right? You got people fighting for abortion. And to me, when you're fighting over abortion, right? It's like, okay, let's have the abortion fight. Everybody want to fight over abortion. Everybody are saying different things in the abortion. So in the process of that, Okay, that's a lot better. In the process of that fight, right? A lot of people can't answer one simple question when it comes to the abortion fight. Many people that's fighting for abortion says that a woman have a right to a body, and then you have those that says that the baby is not a baby, it's not a person, it's a fetus. And so my question is, if that's the case, and it's only a fetus, so it's okay for a woman to have an abortion, but if a person kill a woman that is pregnant, then it's a double homicide. How is it a double homicide if an individual kill a woman who's pregnant? It's a double homicide, took 2 lives, but a woman that's having an abortion is not a life. And so when you start to look at this and you start to have these debates on abortion, it makes no sense. And then you say, well, a woman should have the right to choose of what she wants to do when it comes to her body. But when people say, I don't want the carrot in my body, then that itself is saying you don't have a right to choose what goes on with your body. So we have all of these crazy, mixed up fighting that people don't have answers for the simple stuff. During the pandemic, everybody believed in the pandemic. Everybody was for the nervous and afraid of the pandemic and think you ought to do A, B, C, and D. But then when you ask them a question, in 2020 and 2021, how come nobody caught a cold or nobody caught the flu? Like they disappeared and just now coming back on the scene. I mean, what happened? So when we start to look at certain things, it makes you want to question why certain things is being done, right? And so I love the way Morgan Freeman was being interviewed, and the guy asked Morgan Freeman, he says, "How do you get rid of racism?" And Morgan Freeman said, "You want to get rid of racism? Then stop talking about it." He was like, just stop talking about it. You are keeping racism going by having these kind of conversations, by talking about certain things that really shouldn't even be talked about. I mean, we put color on everything, every single thing. But there's one thing that we never, ever put color to. Did y'all know that? There's one thing we never put color to. Somebody put on there, what is one thing we don't put color to? One thing that we are not racist about. Come on, give me one thing. I guarantee you, I want to see if anybody gonna get it. There's one thing that we do not put racism on. Out of everything that we deal with, we don't put racism in this. Can somebody tell me what that is? I just want to know if you guys understand it. What is the one thing that we do not put racism in? We try to put racism in everything, but there's one thing we don't put racism with. Can y'all tell me what that one thing is? Do y'all know what that one thing? Well, it could be looked at as two things. Okay, two things that we don't put racism ever. It's never, ever in. It's never in there. We never bring it up. Never, ever. Never, ever has we brought it up. Never, ever has I heard anybody say anything Now, I even have not heard media say it. Media have not even put racism in this one thing. So can you tell me that one thing that media, nobody ever talk about when it comes to racism? There's one thing they never put color in. Well, two things. They never put color in. Two things. Two things they never put color in. Can y'all tell me what those two things are? And something that is very, very important. But there's two things we never put color in. I want y'all to think about it for a second. But two things we never, ever put color in. We talk about racism so much. We talk about Black Lives Matter. We talk about all this other stuff. But there's two things we never put racism in. Two things that we never put it in. Now, I know y'all got some ideas of the two things we never, ever use the race card or put racism in it. Two things. Since everything is about race, but there's two things we do not put racism in. Two things. Come on, you smart people. I know y'all know. Come on, tell me the two things that we never worry about race. Two things. And then I'm going to talk about some other stuff, but let's do this one first. Two things that we do not put race in. And give y'all a chance to think about it for a minute, but two things. Two things we do not put race in. Give y'all a couple of more seconds. Two things. Two things that we do not put racism in. And those two things are, number one, a blood transfusion, and number two, a transplant. Not one time somebody need a heart is going to ask you, is that heart from a Black person, a white person, a Latino person, an Asian person? They just want the heart so they can live. Not one time that person asks you, did that blood come from a Black person or a white person or a Latino person? If it's matching their blood type, they'll take the blood. Now, I have heard some people ask, is this blood given to me from somebody who's been vaccinated or somebody that has not been vaccinated? Or can you tell if this person been vaccinated or not? And will that get in my system? But I never, ever heard anybody use the race card when it comes to blood transfusion or a transplant. Never, ever in my life have I heard somebody says, I know I need a lung, but I only want a Black lung. I know I need a kidney, but I only want a black kidney. I know I need a heart, but I only want a black heart. Never, ever have you heard anybody says that. Nobody ever questioned where it come from, unless they want to go to that person and say to them how grateful I am that your loved one blessed me with their heart, and I do the best I can with it, or with a kidney, or with a lung, or whatever. What I have seen is where a black donated to a white, or a white donated to a black, and they became closer and they became like family. But I never, ever saw anybody use the race card when it came to a blood transfusion or a transplant. Never have I seen anybody deny a kidney that was going to save their life, deny a heart that will save their life, and says, if that heart came from a black person, I don't want it. Or if that heart came from a white person, I don't want it. Or if those lungs came from a black person, I don't want it. Or if those kidneys came from a white person, I don't want it. Nobody. Everybody just accept the organs that they needed. It didn't matter, black, white, Chinese, it didn't matter. As long as it was a match, that was the only thing that mattered. Blood transfusion. Only thing matter is the same blood type. That's the only thing that matter. If you go to the blood bank, they ain't got white blood over here, black blood over here, Latino blood over here. They got the blood separated by types. By types. But transplant, if you needed a heart, you didn't care where it come from, as long as it allowed you to live. You're sad that someone lost their life that you can live, but you're also grateful that someone lost their life so you can live. So you go and you want to meet the family. You want them to be able to touch your chest so they can feel their loved one heart still beating and stuff like that. But you never, ever had a person that was a transplant. Never did. You ever notice media don't even talk about or do a campaign for, we only want white hearts or white kidneys or white lungs or black kidneys or black lungs or black heart. What we need is to survive. So we want to take a life that was taken and use their organs to be a blessing to another person. And we never argue about color when it comes to organs or blood transfusion. So why are we still arguing over this dumb stuff today? Move color out of the way, treat everybody like a human being, have real conversations. Because here's the thing about it. You got bad in every color. You got bad in everything. You got good pastors, you got bad pastors. You got good teachers, you got bad teachers. You got good doctors, you got bad doctors. You got good cops, you got bad cops. You got good nurses, you got bad nurses. You got good nursing homes, you got bad nursing homes. You got good hospitals, you got bad hospitals. Everything has, but you can't label everybody the same. And what we've been doing, we've been putting everybody in the same pile. And so when you look at it, even with, we was talking about this today, even with the yard signs, Black Lives Matters, and you put those yard signs in Black Lives Matters in people yard, and when you look at it, it's in a yard of a white person, right? So you go and knock on that door and says, I notice you have a Black Lives Matter sign in your yard. And they say, I do. And then you say, well, do your life matter? And see what kind of response you get. Do your life matter? You're saying Black life matter, but what about your life? Do your life matter? And when we start to look at it, we already know about Black Lives Matter. We saw what happened with Black Lives Matter. We saw how they promised to make a law to protect Black folks, and the law still ain't made. Biden promised the blacks, still didn't happen. The leadership of Black Lives Matter, they took the money and they ran off. And Black lives is not changed at all. It's still the same, especially in Milwaukee. We're high incarceration. We're high in broken families. We're high in children being suspended in school. We're the lowest when it comes to scoring in our education system, reading and writing and math. We are the worst place for a Black family for Black people to raise their children in the city of Milwaukee. Nothing changed. Nothing changed. They use Black people again for their agenda. And when they use Black people for their agenda, they rile you up, get you all emotional. And when they then after you're emotional, then they use you for their rallying cry. But then when it's time to come to the table, Black folks are still on the menu. We're still on the menu. We still ain't got nothing that they promised. You still ain't got a law to protect you. You still don't know your constitutional rights because they don't want you to know that. You still having the roughest time in the city to get your business started and everything. You get nothing, but yet they need you to act a fool to push their agenda. And so when you start to look at things, I mean, we just got to slow down and just start asking a lot of different questions and find out who really is about the people, okay? Because you got one side saying they're not racist. You got the other side saying, yes, they are racist, but it haven't been proven yet. It haven't been proven to the fact where people is not questioning it anymore. Or it's not being proven because nobody's having a real conversation anymore about what's really going on. I mean, if we look at it, you have people that's on the Republican side or the right side that is sick and tired of the Republican Party. They're sick and tired of the games that they're playing. And then you look on the left side, you've got people that are sick and tired of the Democrat Party. They're sick and tired of the things that the Democrats been doing, but yet at the same time, nobody moves yet. And where do we supposed to move to? I'm glad you asked. You're supposed to move in the middle, that we the people can come together. We're not going to agree on everything. We're not even trying to agree on everything. We can find common grounds to agree on. For example, let's look at Milwaukee. There's people on the left and there's people on the right who want safer neighborhoods. There's people on the left and there's people on the right. When they call the police, they get a quick response time. There's people on the left and there's people on the right that want a better education for our children. There's people on the left and there's also people on the right that does not want transgender pushed on our children. So you can find common grounds to come together as we the people and solve a lot of these problems that we are having. Because why? Simply because of the fact that it's a human problem. It is an issue that every one of us are dealing with. It's not a Democrat problem or a Republican problem, because all they're going to do is have you arguing with each other back and forth and nothing gets solved and they just point the finger. It's your fault. No, it's your fault. Why not come together and say, how can we fix? How can we fix Milwaukee? How can we make it a better place? How can we help our young people in the city of Milwaukee? Where are the investments in our youth? And I just saw a march. I believe it was a march with Tory Lowe, Von Mays, and Tracy Dent. And I applaud you, brothers, for trying your best to help stop the violence and all of that. because, I mean, it's needed, you know. But you got to understand, when people start to solve problems, other people get mad because they make money on the problem. But if you ever want to really bring finance into a city, if you ever really want to see the money come into communities, then you got to start solving the problems. Problem solvers are the ones who's getting rich. Problem solvers are majority of the millionaires and the billionaires because they solved the problem. Tom McCain became famous because he solved the problem when he went to India. When he was a college student, he went to India and he saw all of those feet and no shoes. So he created a very cheap shoe. He solved problems. Mr. Wash is becoming very rich because we at that point, we're too busy to go home and just wash our own car that we go to the car wash. And most of us, we got a monthly membership. So he ain't got to do nothing but sit back and watch the money come in every month as we pay the membership because we don't like dirty cars. So because we don't like dirty cars, Mr. Car Wash is all over, not only in Wisconsin, but it's all over the country now. So now you got a membership, no matter where you at. If you find a Mr. Wash, you can get a car wash. So so solving problems bring more money than leaving the problem there. And so what we have to do is we have to come up with the solutions. And Einstein said it this way: the same system that caused the problem cannot be the same system that solves the problem. So you can't use the same thing that caused it to cure it. So we have to do something different. We have to do something different. We have to come together and sit down, everybody that's looking out for our children, and says what we got to do. For example, I've been complaining about MPS. I've been complaining how MPS has mistreated our children, how MPS has dumbed down the education system, how MPS is not concerned about the future of our children. I don't care if they're black, white, Latino, Asian, doesn't matter. The children is not their priority. Making money is their priority. Spending money, not in the schools, is their priority. So because I came up with the problem, I'm also coming up with a solution. Kingdom Excellency Academy will be open soon. Because why? We need a better education system for our children. We need for them to know everything they need to know, whether it's reading, writing, arithmetic. Here's the thing about it. If your children can't read cursive writing, then how's your children going to be able to read the history? Because all the history is written in cursive. So if your children don't know how to read cursive writing, then how are they going to read history? So now somebody got to interpret history for them. And so in the process of interpreting history, I can change it. And so this is what's happening right now because our children can't read. Majority of the adults can't read cursive writing because when they stopped it a while ago. And now you got adults who don't know how to read it. So they can't even read the Constitution or history. So now they have to go back and let somebody interpret it and type it out for them so they won't get the true writings of Frederick Douglass, which a lot of them don't even know who Frederick Douglass is. A lot of them won't get the true history, true Black history, because of the fact that all the lies that was told during Black history. So, Black history is more than about slavery. Black history is so powerful with this country. And so without reading the cursive writing, they can't do anything about history. And they know we can't. Any one of you out there, if you ever want to know the truth, when it comes to history, when it comes to the NAACP, when it comes to Planned Parenthood, you need to go get the DVD or look it up on YouTube, MAFA 21. You go watch MAFA 21. You go watch Hidden Colors 1, 2, and 3. You go watch American History in Black and White by David Barton. If you really want to know some truth, then go watch those DVDs. You will see how blacks was complaining and protesting because in the late 50s, early 60s, they were sterilizing black women. And they went to the NAACP about this, and they didn't want to have nothing to do with it. They wouldn't touch it. They wouldn't address it. They wouldn't do nothing with it. They turned their back on the black community when they were sterilizing black women. Look it up. It's out there. It's out there because one woman from, I believe it was North Carolina or South Carolina, she just won a lawsuit. Matter of fact, let me look it up. She won a lawsuit in because they sterilized her. I'm going to look it up. And so when you really look at this and you see how let me pull it up because I'm on my other computer while we're looking at this, because of the fact that they forced her by having her grandmother sign papers, sign the papers because of the fact that she was they sterilized her, and they used the word back then, they used the word feeble. And when they used that word feeble, they said you won't be able to take care of yourself, or you won't be able to take care of your family, so we need to sterilize you. And so they sterilized a lot of black women back then because they was trying to stop black babies from being born. And so I'm just looking it up now. And so what ended up happening, and so when we look at it, they hid the truth from us. And so you need to go and really figure this thing out on who really for who, because it's not what people are saying. They're lying to us on a lot of different areas, and they use black, they use color as a reasoning for they use color to push their agenda. Just look at Milwaukee. Right now, Milwaukee almost bankrupt. And so they didn't let you guys know because they kind of hid it from you. And the reason they hid it from you, what they ended up doing is that they were not, and you have to look at this for what it really is. They're not going to come to you and say, vote for me because I'm going to do you like this, I'm going to do you like this, I'm going to raise your taxes, I'm going to beat you out of your house. I'm going to reduce the police so your community won't be safe. I'm going to put your street light on your water bill. So I need you to vote for me. No, what they do, they go get somebody that you are easily to vote for, and then you vote for them, and then you're thinking they're for you, which they're really against you because they're pushing the agenda of somebody behind them, just like our mayor and our county executive. They both are in the pocket of Chris Abele. And so they're pushing Chris Abele agenda, not your agenda. You the one voted them in office, and your agenda is not being dealt with at all. So your agenda, and let me explain what I mean by that. Let me slow down because I get hyped and then I'm going too fast. When I ran for lieutenant governor and I needed to get signatures, I went over in Franklin to Menards, or was that Home Depot? Chris Lawrence and I went, and I think it was Menards, and we was in Menards parking lot, and everyone that came out of that Menard asked me Democrat, Republican before they signed the paper. We left there, and I said, I know where we can get signatures. We left there, and we went to Walmart on 103rd and Silver Spring. Not one person asked me, was I Democrat or Republican? The only thing they said, you're a black man, I support my brothers. And they just sign, and they just sign, and they just sign, and they just sign. Not one time asked me what I believe in. Not one asked what's my stand. Now, what's my goal? What's my platform? What do I believe in? Where you come from? What's your background? Nothing. They just all signed. They just signed. And so that lets me know that we have not been trained or taught to question candidates that's running for office. We just go simply because somebody said we're black, so you got to vote Democrat. And most of the people says, and it's weird because watch this. Most black Democrats hate the Ku Klux Klan, if not all of them. They hate the KKK. But they support the party that birthed out the KKK. Most of them think that the Republican Party birthed out the KKK. But the Republican Party, yes, it is. That's how he got in. That's how he got in. And so most blacks, they really hate the KKK, but don't realize that the KKK was birthed and controlled by the Democrat Party. If they can talk to their great-great-grandmother them, they would realize that their great-great-grandmother them was all Republicans. And I'm not pushing the Republican Party because I'm not pushing any party. I belong to Christ. I'm a person. I need to know the individual. I need to know your character. I need to understand now what you really stand for. I didn't ask you what the party stand for. I asked what you stand for, because we saw Republicans went to Washington and voted against everybody that claims to be a Republican, so-called morals and values. They voted against that. So it's not even about party anymore, but we're just talking about the ignorance right now. So for example, most blacks, parents, grandparents, or great-grandparents had a picture in their house of the Kennedys and Martin Luther King. But what they don't know is the Kennedy brothers did not like Martin Luther King. The Kennedy brothers only used Martin Luther King. They didn't like him. Matter of fact, they wanted to put a wiretap on him because they didn't like him. They called him a communist. They did not like Dr. King, but they used him to their advantage. They used him to their advantage. And when you look at it, a lot of blacks liked it LBJ. They praised LBJ for the Civil Rights Act, but it was LBJ that destroyed the black family with this war on poverty. So when we start to look at this thing, when we decided that we was just going to be the only ethnic group out here that has a leader. Al Sharpton is not a leader for the black community. Jesse Jackson is not a leader for the black community. And I know some of y'all probably disagree with me. Well, then let me ask this question. If Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson, LeBron James, and all the other athletes that's trying to say Black Lives Matter, how come they haven't gotten together? How come LeBron James have not made a commercial to say stop the black on black crime? How come Shaq and Charles Barkley and all of these who has the platform, how come Jay-Z, all of these folks that blacks supposed to be looking up to, how come they all are not standing up to say enough of this black on black crime? How come they all not standing up and say enough of this not educating our children? How come enough of them are not saying anything positive for the black community? They're not standing up for us. They're not saying anything. Your mayor don't even stand up and say enough on black crime. The only time he talks is when there's a car accident and somebody dies. Or he might come out after he get permission from the puppet master to say certain things, but he never said anything about the education system and how bad our children got it right now. He never came out. Not one of them, not one of black elected officials says, do you know what the problem is? Family members, parents' hands are tied. Parents cannot be parents because if they do, they go to jail. So how am we supposed to discipline our children when you tied our hands up and the children know that the parents' hands are tied? So how is a parent is supposed to be parents, but yet you get on liberal media and says, parents, get your children. Knowing your laws already done hindered parents from getting their children. But all of these so-called black leaders or black influencers in the community, not one of them are talking about stop the black on black crime. Not one of them. Not one. And then you got one who's sacrificed his own son to allow his son to be a girl so he can push. Ain't no way a father supposed to let his son be that confused with his sexuality that you're going to turn him into a girl. But the Bible did say, what profit a man to gain the whole world and to lose his soul? Or what will a man give in exchange for his soul? Popularity? Because that's what we're doing. You got black Democrats. Watch this. I'm going to show you how funny this is. You got black Democrats in the city of Milwaukee under black Democrat leadership can't prosper, that they leave Milwaukee and go to a Republican state and they prospering. They leave Milwaukee and go to Texas and prosper. But they couldn't prosper in their own hometown being ran by black Democrats. And I know most of us who are wise realize that the blacks that's in charge today are really not in charge. They are being governed by somebody else. They're being governed by, we got two being governed by Tony Evers. We don't, whoever the other ones are being paid for, but they're being governed, telling what to say and what not to say, where to go, where not to go. because they bank it that black people in Milwaukee will stay ignorant. Black people in Milwaukee, we got to wake up, because let me tell y'all something. The difference between a white alderman and a black alderman is this. It's not color. It's knowledge versus ignorance. In the white alderman's district, that alderman understands that those people in his district is his boss. So when they call, he comes, because he don't want to lose his seat on that alderman. So he's going to come and he's going to see, he's going to answer, he's going to tell them, he's going to sit there and listen to them, and they might fuss at him, they might cuss at him, they're going to do everything, but he's going to make sure that he take care of that district. In the black area where the alderman is, the alderman knows that the black people don't realize that they're the boss. That's why they cannot return your phone call. That's why they don't pay you no attention. Because why? They know you don't know. And because you don't know, they can tell you anything. They can say, oh, I'm trying so hard. And then the black community don't look at voting records. They don't go look and see how many of those black aldermen that made laws that came against them. Because black aldermen are the ones who's making those laws. Your black representatives, state reps, your black state senators, those are the ones you need to check their voting record to see if they voted in your favor. But because they know you are ignorant to that, because they know that you know nothing about them, they have a bond that you can sue their bonds. If they're not doing what you require, you can sue your alderman's bonds. But they don't want you to know this kind of information, because the moment they know you know it, they're in trouble. So you accepted so much, and you accepted it because you didn't know no better. And I understand that, because we didn't know better. We didn't know how it works. We didn't know that they was there to represent us. We didn't know that we could sue their bonds. We didn't even understand they work for us. We didn't understand that, because look at your district. No matter what district you live in, look at your district right now and ask you, is that the way you want your district to look? With vacant houses, raggedy houses that they won't tear down or give the lot to somebody else to build a house on. Your street lights ain't never on, but they on your water bill. Your police time, because there's not enough police officers, so you the one gonna hurt. When they had black people hollering to fund the police, what the blacks didn't realize, when you was hollering to fund the police, you was only defunding the police in your neighborhood, because downtown is not gonna have a shortage on police. Downtown was not gonna have a shortage on police. And let me show you how the mayor reverse the race card on you guys. You must say, how he reversed the race card? Let me show you how he reversed the race card on you guys. City of Milwaukee is financially in trouble. And because they're in financially trouble, they got to make some cuts. So the mayor gets on TV talking about these cuts. And one cut that they might have to make is they might have to cut a police district. All right? So, in cutting a police district, they reversed the race card and chose 6th district. Now, let me explain. If they would have said that we was going to close 3rd, which they would have never used 3rd, so let's not use 3rd. But if they would have said we're going to close 5th, 7th, or 4th district, nobody would have said a word. And the reason why, it's in the majority black areas. But because they said we're going to close 6th district, it is majority Caucasians, majority, if not all, homeowners, and it's going all the way down to the city limit on the south side, South 27, all the way down to, what's that? Howard, I believe Howard College, Howard, it stops, and then it goes up into Jackson Park, all the way up to West Dallas, Wauwatosa, Greendale. So all of those areas are mostly home. If you drive through there, you see houses, they're nice, they grass is cut, they can have a package delivered. Ain't nobody going on a porch to take those packages. So they are safe. They feel safe and everything. So what did he do? He said, we're going to close 6th District. So he chose 6th District. Why 6? Because 2nd District is dealing with majority people that rents, low income in that area. So no, really 2nd, 4th, 5th, and 7th, nobody would really probably say anything. So what did he do? He flipped the card and says, we're going after 6th District. And now he's at the state, asking the state to bail them out of the mess that they made. Because their pension is at stake right now. Their money. So when they retire, they want that money there for them. They made bad investments in 2009. They had an opportunity to put Jason Fields, a person who understands finances, as the comptroller. But what did they do? They didn't want Jason Fields in there. They did not. Why? Because he would have exposed some stuff. That's why they didn't want him there. Jason Fields is a financial, I call him a financial whiz. He know finance. He know investment. So why let somebody like that get in there where he can find all the mess, all the dirt, all the shortcomings? They didn't want Jason Fields in that office. That's why he didn't win when he ran for comptroller, because he would have saw some stuff, and being the man that he is and the man of God that he is, he couldn't keep quiet. He would have said some things, and they didn't want him to say nothing. So that's why he's not in that office. But that comptroller race is up again in 2024. And you guys need to find a true person that walk in integrity, that understand finance, that can become the next comptroller. So we got to look at everything that's going on, and we need new blood so we can get some stuff done. We got to get this stuff done. We got to get this stuff taken care of. We got to be able to empower you guys. See, because true leaders empower the people. So we have to empower you guys. We have to empower our young people. If I was a young person right now, I'll run wild out here. Why? Because you already done put in my head, I don't have a future. You already put in my head that as a black person, I'm always a victim. You already done stopped me from reading, writing, and doing math. So how can I go get a job? You already hindered me. So what do I have left? So we got to start to invest back in our city, starting with our young people, investing in them, empowering them, educating them, and say, listen, what they said about you was a lie. Let me show you how to do this. Let me show you how to get your reading scores up. Let me show you how to really do math. Let me show you how to go back and dream again. Here's the thing. 2 things I want you to read. Read the Constitution, read the Bill of Rights. Know what's yours. And then let's go get it, because you can have it. It's nothing hindering you. We got to go back to our young people and say, listen, the only thing that's stopping you from your destiny is you. What is it that you want? Let's go get it. I will help you get it. I will not rest until you get it. This is what we have to do. We have to let them know, if you don't believe in yourself, I believe in you, so let's do it together. That's how we have to do this right now, because they've been lied to, been indoctrinated with lies. So now we have to detox them. We have to detox them with all this contaminated truth and help them get to the place where they need to be. That's what we need to do now. And we can't do it unless we're willing to invest. This is how we make Milwaukee better. We got to invest. We have to look at it, and we have to just start telling the truth. They lied to you. They was never there for you. If they was there for you, your life would be better. If they was there for you, you would feel safe. If they was there for you, you would see the opportunities for you. And you don't see that. It's a shame before God that Black small business owners had to go to Bayshore Mall and set up camp for all these small Black businesses to come together. It's called the Collective. All these Black businesses came together, but they had to go outside of where they live to get their business going. And we got all of these empty buildings in the city of Milwaukee. All we had to do is say, here, we're going to give you this building, pay the taxes, pay the water bill. Now we got revenue coming in. And now that we got revenue coming in every year on this building, now start y'all businesses and flourish because we're business friendly. And we want to see business grow in the city of Milwaukee. But that didn't happen. They had to go all the way to Bayshore. I'm a business coach and a consultant. One of my clients had to go to West Allis and they was open like this. And one had to go to Shorewood and they open like this. And when they open up, they had no problems. And they've been waiting 6 months to a year just to open up in the city of Milwaukee. That's a shame before God. And you got all these people in here telling Black business or Black people, I'm for you, but the Black businesses have to leave here just to get their business open. That's sad. When we gonna stand up and say something about all this? When we gonna say something? We got a Black superintendent and our children. Let me get this up here. We got log in. We got log in. Come on, log in. We have, let's see. We have Black businesses got to lead the city of Milwaukee with all the Black leadership that we claim we got, and we can't get nothing. So let's look at this. Let me share this with you guys. Let me pop this open. Here is, okay. So I was doing some research on the school system and everything, and I even had them break it down to the simplified for the common man. It says Milwaukee has the largest school district in Wisconsin, serving over 70,000 students in 160 schools. The graduation rate in Milwaukee MPS in 2019-2020 school year was 68.1, which was slightly lower than the state average. Many MPS students are from families facing financial difficulties, with around 88% of students in the district is eligible for free or reduced meal prices. Now watch this. Black students in Milwaukee trend to have lower academic outcomes than white peers, with only 8% of Black 8th graders in Milwaukee school was able to read, was able to score their grade level in the 8th grade level, only 8%, compared to 49% of the white students. In 2020-2021 school year, 76% of students were 76% in, watch this, in 2020-2021 school year, approximately 76% of MPS students were Black, 13% was Hispanic, and 4% was white, and 6% was Asian. Now, watch this. Now I got to get to the suspension rate. Let me get to the rest of the data. Because see, here's the thing that's sad about it is that we sit around and acting like we don't have any issues. We have a lot of issues. We have so much issues that with our children that let's look at this. Let me get off school for a minute and let's look at this. We had the highest homicide rate in 2020. In 2020, the unemployment rate for Black residents in Milwaukee was 18.7. This was in 2020, 18.7, which is higher than the city overall unemployment rate of 12.7. 6% higher. 6% higher. Now, we're talking about a city with so many Black elected officials who went to the Black community and said, vote for me because I got you. And this is right during the pandemic or before the pandemic, we was highest, our unemployment rate was higher than the average city unemployment rate. We was at an 18.7, the city was at a 12.7. So when we start to look at this thing and we start to understand, what's the problem. The problem is you got so much going on with no education being taught, so that our children are ignorant and they're becoming adults. They are ignorant to a lot of stuff because they wasn't taught, so they taking advantage of them. They're lying to them, telling them because they don't know. They telling them things because they don't know. And because they don't know, they could be lied to. And this is what's happening. The mayor lied to the city of Milwaukee that he was going to do better. He hasn't. And I know a lot of you are going to say, well, he took over for Tom Barrett. But wait, he was an alderman before he became the president of the Common Council. He was an alderman before he became mayor. So a lot of this rides on him because he had to vote for a lot of this stuff. So he don't get a pass because he's been part of the problem ever since he's been an alderman. Has he ever did a press conference and say, Black kids' education is the poorest and it's terrible, and Black children need to have the same opportunity as every other child? And I'm not just talking about Blacks. I'm talking about the whites in MPS. I'm talking about the Asians in MPS. I'm talking about the Hispanic that's in MPS. But did he talk about our children? No, he didn't. Did he talk about crime, the Black on Black crime? No, he didn't. Did he talk about Black families? No, he didn't. Did he talk about family, period? No, he didn't. Did he say he was going to be business friendly to minority business owners? No, he didn't. And when I say minority, I'm talking about all Black, white, Hispanic, because you got minority whites, you got minority, and people say, how's a white minority? A woman is a minority, no matter what's her color. They consider them minorities. So when you look at this thing, you got to say, these people been in office for all this time, and life got worse, not better. Why? Newsflash, it was designed to be worse. It was designed to get worse. It was designed not to allow you to prosper. This is why we're in the mess that we are in. And this is why they don't want our children to get an education. Because if we can keep you guys ignorant and we can keep you guys just believing everything comes out of our mouth and the media is helping us, then we got it. We got it. And the scary part about it is we got an election coming up in about 8 months. 8 months. And in 8 months, a lot of people still ain't gonna do their homework. It is so messed up that you got some leaders on the Republican Party thinking Milwaukee can't be fixed, thinking that nobody can win Milwaukee, that it's always going to be Democrats. You got Democrats saying, oh, we can just lie to the people and we just keep them a bliss and they just going to vote for us because they don't know no better. They don't even know when they're being screwed. They don't know that we don't have their best interests at heart. They don't know. So we're just going to keep it going. And so both sides are saying to you, we don't care. Democrat or Republican can't fix Milwaukee. The people that live in Milwaukee, we can fix Milwaukee. We just got to be willing to have a conversation to figure out what we agree on. That's all we got to do. We got to have a conversation, say, okay, what do you agree on? What do you see? How do you see Milwaukee? What ideas do you have? What ideas do you have? And I share my ideas, and let's see which idea is the best, and let's fix Milwaukee. Because the way it's going right now, it's not being fixed. Nothing is changing. It's just getting worse. And watch this. Every year we have Black History Month. During that Black History Month, we have Black Excellence Award. We acknowledge contribution that was given by Blacks in the city of Milwaukee. But have you ever take time to look at what side of the fence those Blacks is on? I do what I do in the city, not for somebody to praise me. But they would not recognize me because I'm not on that side of the fence that they're on. But their family members, I have helped. Lena Taylor brother, I helped him get a job, and I also helped him set up his transportation business so that he can make money helping people get back and forth to work. She know my work. You think they ever did or recognize? Now, maybe when I die, they might go to my kids and say, here, we want to recognize your father's work. But you think they do that now? No. When Ashante Hamilton was an alderman, he knew my work. I helped his family members. Steve Mahan, who's over the block grant, know my work. Alderman Stamper, Rainey, Cobbs, they all know my work. It's not like they don't know. They know my work. They know what I've done. They know how I help people. But they would not recognize because I'm not on that side of the fence. And I say that to say there's good people on both sides that are doing great things. But you won't get recognized because you don't sound like them, talk like them, act like them, or hang with them. I'm a man of integrity. I say what I'm going to do, and I do what I'm going to say, what I said. That's it. I'm not trying to be friends. I'm not trying to hang out. I'm not trying to go where you're going. I'm just there to do one thing and one thing only, and that's to represent the people of Milwaukee. People of Milwaukee. There was times where we was transporting people to work that because the funding wasn't there, and because I would not move God out of God squad, and because I would not be quiet, as they say, I went and I drove Lyft just to put gas in the van so these people can get to work. I sacrificed for people that they can get to where they needed to be. But I did it because that's my heart. I did it because I want to see other people blessed. I did it because they needed to do some things for their own life. I had to give them a hand up instead of a hand out. And so, and God has took great care of me. He's blessed me for my labor, and I'm grateful, and I wouldn't change a thing. I'll do it again. But at the same time, my job is to help empower people, not manipulate people. And so when you look at it, take a walk through and just ask yourself, everything that's going on in the city, is that what you wanted to go on? Because you sent your aldermen to represent you. But if you look at our city is the reflection of the leadership. That's what it is. It's a reflection of leadership. Let me know when you're tired, that we can make the changes that we need. Let me know that you're ready to invest in Milwaukee. Let me know that you're ready to make a change. Let me know, because I'm already ready. I'm already all in. If I wasn't in Milwaukee, if I wasn't all the way in to invest in Milwaukee, I would have left Milwaukee a long time ago. I would have lied on God and said, God told me it's time for me to leave. And I would have left like everybody else. I would have went to Georgia or Mississippi or Arizona or Vegas or Florida. I would have been gone. But I understand my assignment is here to make this city better, to make it where my children and grandchildren can feel safe in this city, that they don't have to be afraid of anything. That is my challenge. That is why I'm still here. That is why I'm not going nowhere, because I am totally committed into making this a great city, a city we can be proud of, a city that can show oneness, that we can come together. We don't have to be separated. We can come together. Again, it's not about Democrat or Republican. It's about us, the people of the city of Milwaukee, who are sick and tired of sick and tired. I know some people are sick and tired of hearing gunshots where they have to drop on the floor of their house. That is not a normal lifestyle. And we're not going to allow that to become a normal lifestyle. So we're going to do our part. I need you to do your part. I need you to come and join force with us to make this place a better place. I need you guys to come with us to make it where we are excited and we can brag on our city, not because of the Bucks, not because of the Brewers, but because we have a good place to raise our children. We have a great education system. And if MPS has to fall apart, that we can rebuild it, then so be it. We should not allow our children not to get the proper education that they need. That's something we shouldn't do. That's something that each and every one should say, okay, enough is enough. enough is enough. So if you're tired, just drive around. Even though we love our loved ones and we tell them all the time, but when we have came to a place where you have to say, I love you before you leave home, because the way it's going now, you don't even know if you're going to make it back home. We should not have to live in a community or a city like that. It takes us, each and every one of us. Look at your children, look at your grandchildren, and just ask yourself, is this really what I want for my child or my grandchild? That's something we got to ask ourselves. So I just came on for Monday Talk. Let's come together. Because we have the answers. The answer is us. The answers is each and every one of us. That's the answer. We just got to be willing. We need to come together and we need to have a mind to work. No more song and dance. No more lies. Now it's time for us to say, you know what? In some communities, they grade their aldermen or they grade their state representatives, their state senators, their congressmen, and their U.S. senators. They grade them. They give them a grade on how they perform. And if they got one that's performing poor, they find somebody to replace them. And it's time for us to grade. We need to grade our mayor. We need to grade our county supervisors, our county executives, our aldermen, our DA, our comptroller, our city attorney, because all of them are up for election in 8 months. Every single one of them. And we need to grade them. And if their grade is terrible, you need to fire them. You need to fire them. That's how it goes. You got to make the decision. You got to want to be educated. And you got to want to be well educated. And you got to be one that is willing to just say, you know what? No more voting because somebody tell me to vote. Even when Souls to Polls is telling you to get out and vote. And they tell you they are nonpartisan, but look who they hang with. They hang with Mandela Barnes. They hang with all the liberal and the Democrat candidates. So they're not nonpartisan. So what happens is they're going to work hard in these 8 months to not allow you to take their money away from them by putting those people out of office. You need to be informed yourself. Just like the Bible says, study to show thyself approval. A workman that not need to be ashamed, but rightly dividing the word of truth. You need to be informed yourself by studying. If you don't know, ask questions and look up. If you don't know and you want information, call me or inbox me, and I'll tell you where to go find the information. But you need to look it up for yourself. Watch the DVD, MAFA 21. Watch Hidden Colors 1, 2, and 3. And then come back and look at your elected officials. Say, is they part of genocide? Is they a part of holding us down? Are they a part of not allowing us to move forward? Are they a part? Because if they're okay with the education system the way it is, then they are part of the problem. If they're okay with defunding the police, that the police don't even come in your neighborhood, then they are part of the problem. Yes, the relationship between the police and the community got to be healed. A lot of stuff it's a lot of work because it got to be healed. A lot of people been lied to. A lot of people been mistreated. So yes, it got to be healed. But when they tell you to defund the police, they're only telling you to defund them out of your neighborhood. Downtown will never be defunded. Police is always going to be downtown. Your neighborhood is where they're not going to come. And sometimes in order to fix the problem, you got to go in from the inside. So some of you might need to think about having a career, being a police officer or a deputy sheriff or even running for office. But you got to get in to fix it, because standing on the outside, they're not going to pay you no attention. Until you take that power back as a community, as a district, until you take that power back, then they never gonna pay you no attention. But the moment you take that power, oh, they listening. They listening. The moment you take that power back and let them know you're gonna vote them out in 8 months. Now they might try to do something now for you because they know they got 8 months and they need you to vote for them again. So they might do something now. Listen to their language. Watch how their language shift in these next 8 months. Listen to what they're saying these next 8 months compared to what they said the last 3 years. You're going to see they're going to start sounding like thinking that they're for you. They're going to start saying things that they think you want to hear. And when they do that, they're going to try to get you to, they're going to try to flirt with you so you can vote for them. Now, it's not a committed relationship. They're just flirting with you to get you to vote for them. Because if I can flirt with you to get you to vote for me, I still don't have to make a commitment because I'm only flirting. They're not going to make a commitment to your community, your district. Maybe they came and did a block party. Whoopee-doo. But that's not dealing with your lives. That's not dealing with the everyday issues in that district, in that community. So we need to really challenge them. Look what the mayor did and the common council did when the 9th district didn't even have an alderman. They didn't care about you people. What did they do? They put a detention center there when some of you was like, don't vote on this until we have an alder person there to represent us so we can have a voice. They don't care about your voice. That's why they voted it before you got an alderman. And they made a lot of decisions in district that didn't have representation because they're telling you, we don't care what you want. We're telling you what you want, but you're their boss. So they're going to try to sweet talk you and flirt with you for the next 8 months, get you to come to their side and vote for them. And then they're going to use other people. You gotta look at who they're using too, because they're going to use some pastors. And some pastors is going to try to get you to vote for them. Now, watch this. You might not have paid attention to it. So I'm just going to say it this way. Many of you sit in churches that preach prosperity, and they're telling you you can prosper, and they're using the word of God to say you can prosper. But then they turn around and make you vote for your own oppressor, make you vote for somebody who won't let you prosper, vote for somebody that's going to go against the very thing they told you to believe in. They make you, they tell you to vote for a person because they're part of a party, but that party want to oppress you. And so you vote for the one that's oppressing you, and now you're wondering why you can't prosper. Because they're not there for you to prosper. That's right. You're absolutely right, J-Rod. You're absolutely right. But if they slow down for a minute, everything that's going on now is affecting their children with bad education. It's affecting their businesses. Now they're struggling. And now we got to sit back and we got to wait on, I think, tomorrow or Wednesday, because the state is going to vote to see if they're going to bail Milwaukee out of the mess that they put themselves in the mess that they put themselves in because of the fact that they mismanaged their pension. So now they want to see if the state can do it. If the state decide, well, you know what, we're going to vote and we're going to put this on a referendum and let the people vote to see if they want to their taxes raised in the city of Milwaukee. So we're not going to touch it. We're going to send it as a referendum and let the people vote, right? Then I bet $1,000 to $1, excuse me, $1,000 to $1 that our mayor going to say, we could have been out of this, but the Republicans wouldn't give us the money. Instead of saying, you know what, let's come clean. We made some bad decisions. In 2009, they made some bad investments. In 2009, in 2000 and in 2009, they made some bad investments. And so this is why they're in the mess that they're in. And I believe, and I double check, but I also believe that there was a year they didn't put anything in the pension. So, so now I believe there are like $150 million in the hole, and then they're looking for a bailout, like the banks looked for a bailout. And so, and you know why the banks needed a bailout? Because they gave all those people those mortgages that people couldn't pay, and it was under balloon, and it was steady growing. So the banks needed a bailout, and now the city of Milwaukee, they mismanaged funds. In 2009, the city faced a $250 million unfunded pension liability. In 2020, the unfunded pension liability was estimated to be around $1.7 billion, which is a substantial burden on the city finance. The problem has been, so this problem has been ongoing, and they never decided to fix it. So what they did, they just kept going on, and now they're saying to the state, bail us out. And if the state don't bail us out, all we're going to do is blame Republicans. We're going to blame the Republican Party for not bailing us out, and it's not our fault anymore. It's the state fault. But people, let me get you guys to understand. Milwaukee was in charge of their own budget, okay? They have a budget. They mismanaged their budget. Nobody here watching or will watch later will mess up their house budget and then go to your boss and say, can you bail me out? I need more money. It's not going to happen. And so what we have to do is, there's some things that Milwaukee have to do. It'll take a minute, but we can get out of this mess. And so what we have to do is, in order to get out of any mess, the first thing we have to do is admit we messed up. Out of any mess, you have to admit. You can't get out of a mess by pointing the finger at somebody else. We have to admit we messed up. We did not do what we were supposed to do. We was not good stewards over the money. We made bad investments. We didn't put money in at the time. So it's on us. It's our fault. But we won't do that. Simply because we don't want to admit. We want to blame other people. And for years, you always hear the city of Milwaukee say, oh, we could have got more money, but the Republicans in Madison wouldn't give us no more money. Instead of saying, oh, you know what? We messed up. We messed up. And now we need the taxpayers to raise taxes to bail us out of the mess we created. And so they don't want to talk about that. They don't want to address that. They don't want to really deal with it and just blame it on somebody else. And I'm surprised that Cavalier Johnson says, Barrett handed me a mess. And now I'm fixing this mess. He can't say that because that ain't what Abele told him to say. You guys got to look. And you got to pay attention to the things that's going on. Because it's not all what they say. Gotta pay attention. You gotta pay attention. Yes. You're absolutely right, sir. You're absolutely right. But we have to pay attention. And this is why you got 8 months to ask yourself a question. Are you satisfied with the service that the city of Milwaukee is giving you? Are you satisfied with the leadership of this city? Are you satisfied with the leadership of your district, whether it's alderperson or county supervisor? And if the answer is no, then you need to make a decision. You need to do something about it. Because together, we can do it. Together, we can do it. And we have to come from both sides of the aisle to the middle, lock hands, and get it done together. That's the only way it's going to happen. So I thank you guys for tuning in tonight, showing up to hang out with me on a Monday night. I wasn't able to do a show for a while because I've been working the Brewers game, raising money for the school, Kingdom Ecclesia Academy, that we're about to open. And so I would love for you guys to yes. I would love for you guys to join me to this week, because I'm going to be doing a couple of shows this week. Think about it Tuesday. I might do it earlier in the day because I have obligations in the afternoon. But I will. We will be doing Think About It Tuesday tomorrow night. The constitutional queen or the constitutional mama to be, and Mercy will be with me on Thursday. I'm gonna try to get Angel Seth's chance to get on with me one day this week. As also, I'm going to try to get my buddy J-Rod. So let me know your schedule for this week, Angel. We can do another show. J-Rod, let me know what day is good for you so we can do a show. And so we're just going to be doing a couple of, I don't know what happened. I thought I had everything fixed that I can stream straight live to Rumble. So I got to go back in and fix that I can fix Rumble, that we're streaming live from Rumble. It started it when I did a test earlier, but then some reason it kicked us out, and I got to figure out why it kicked me out. But I'm looking forward to the next show with you amazing people that I will have on the show. I got to find my brother Lamar Madison out of Kenosha, that he would join me also on the show. Ooh, yeah, we're going to have to talk about that. And we need a new district attorney. We have to get a new district attorney as well. So we're gonna have to have some conversations. So it's gonna be interesting these next couple of days. Just tune in. We thank God for each and every one of you tonight. I love you guys. I love you guys. You guys are the bomb. And so we're going to, we'll talk about reckless driving as well. So we love you guys, and I'm looking forward to Think About It Tuesday. So join me for Think About It Tuesday. It's going to be great. All right? God bless. Bye. Kingdom citizen,